Player 1 fell off a ladder, Player 2 went up in flames, Player 3 walked in a cactus while was trying to escape, Player 4 was poked to death by a sweet berry bush, Player 5 starved to death and Player 6 was squished too much, Player 8 was killed by magic, Player 9 fell off some vines, Player 10 was slain by llama, Player 11 slain by 9, Player 12 fell out of world, Player 13 was doomed to fall, Player 14 was smashed by Player 1, then blown up by a creeper, Player 15 was struck by lightning, Player 16 was stung to death, 17 went off with a bang, and Player 7 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time. Player 18 burned to death, Player 9 dislocated in a wall, Player 20 was skewered by a falling stalactite, Player 21 froze to death, Player 22 withered away, Player 23 was impaled on a stalagmite, Player 25 was impaled by Player 22, Player 26 was squashed by a falling anvil too, Player 21 was shot by a skull from wither, Player 20 was killed by trying to hurt. Oh! Player 10 was fireballed by Gauss, Player 30 hit the ground too hard, Player 31 experienced kinetic energy, Player 2 fell off scaffolding while Player 3 tried to swim in lava, Player 34 fell from a high place, Player 3 fell discovered the floor was lava, and Player 20 said was the only one to survive, but not for a very long time. 6 went off with a bang, Player 37 was killed by intentional game design, Player 38 was shot by Pedro, Player 39 hit the ground too hard, Player 40 was slain by Player 36, Player 41 was shot by a skeleton, Player 43 fell off some vines, Player 44 was obliterated by a sonically charged shriek while trying to skateboard in, Player 45 was slain by iron golem, Player 46 was stung to death, Player 47 went up in flames, Player 48 starved to death, Player 49 left the confines of this world, Player 50 didn't want to live in the same world as Enderman, and Player 42 was the only one to survive, but not for a very long time. Player 51 was slain by a zombie, Player 52 suffocated in a wall, Player 53 was blown up by a creeper, Player 54 fell out of the world, Player 55 tried to swim in lava, Player 56 was slain by a spider, Player 57 was shot by a skeleton, Player 58 was killed by magic, Player 59 hit the ground too hard, and Player 60 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time. Player 61 was blown up by creeper, Player 62 was slain by zombie pigmen, Player 63 was hurt to death, Player 64 stopped to death, Player 65 was slain by Enderman, Player 66 tried to swim in lava, Player 67 was slain by a witch, Player 68 fell from a high place, Player 69 was slain by dust, Player 70 was shot by skeleton, Player 71 was doomed to fall by spiders, Player 72 was impaled by ground. Player 73 was slain by blood rays. Player 74 was struck by lightning, and Player 75 was the only one survive, but not for a very long time. Player 76 was slain by Flamingo, Player 78 then was shot by a tanker, Player 78 was slain by Mini-Bugsy, Player 79 fell out of the world, Player 80 was slain by Creepcraft, Player 81 was shot by Skid, Player 82 was slain by a Inquisitor Master.
Player 84 was blown up by a creeper. Player 85 was slain by Leah Ash. Player 88 was shot, gets wounded 3. Player 87 fell from a high place. Player 88 was slain by Gaming with Count. Player 89 was shot by Terror Bride. Player 90 was slain by Pope. Player 91 was bricked to death. Player 92 was slain by Zalen's Blade. Player 93 was banned by Roblox. Player 83 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time.
94 was blown up by a creeper whilst trying to escape zombie. Player 95 tried to swim in lava while fighting Enderman. Player 96 was slain by Spider Jockey. Player 97 was doomed to fall by Blaze. Player 98 was blown up by a TNT. Player 100 was slain by witch using magic. And player 99 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time.
Player 101 fell down 1,000,000 blocks. Player 102 was sent to North Korea. Player 103 had been shot by the Soviet Union. Player 104 was a mayfly and died the second after Player 105 turned into a power station and malfunctioned. Player 107 was nuked by the United States. Player 108 found a chicken jockey and got mesmerized by the memes and died. Player 109 was hit by a plane. And player 101 soon died of old age. Player 101 time traveled into a black hole. Player 101 got impaled on his current code. Player 101 fur was lured into Fortnite. Player 101 third ate some polonium. Player 101 sinks had a heart attack from the polonium. And player 106 was the only one survived. But Bingo Healer said no!
Player 11117 fell from a high place. Player 180 experienced kinetic energy. Player 119 was blown up by a creeper while trying to escape Enderman. Player 120 tried to swim in lava. Player 122 was blown up by a TNT. Player 123 was obliterated by a char from Morton. Player 124 was doomed to fall by zombie. Player 125 left the confines of this world. Player 1 sent was blown up by a firework. And player 12E1 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time.
Player 127 was killed by Steve. Player 128 was killed by Alex. Player 129 was blown up by a giant creeper. Player 138 was killed by a fallen giant anvil. Player 131 was shot by Smart Skeleton. Player 133 was slain by zombie. Player 134 was slain by Enderman. Player 135 was killed by strong iron golem. Player 138 smashed by 138. Player 137 was killed by spider. Player 138 fell from a high place. Player 139 went off with a bang. And player 132 was the only one surviving, but not for a very long time.
Player 140 fell into the sun's surface. Player Vitalay 1 blew away by Neptune. Player Horde 42 has been sent to an exoplanet. Player Wormcore 3 had been sent beyond the universe. Player 40 has been drifted away to space. After player
basic bear. Player 149 was hit by a meteorite. Player 150 left the solar system. Player 141 was surrounded out of Lord. Player 142 was launched to better. Player 140 falls to death in Uranus. Player 140 was destroyed by Saturn. Player 140 burned to death on Mercury. Player 146 went to space without a spacesuit, and Player 146 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time.
Player 137 fell from a high place, crashed down with a scream. Player 148 was blown up by a creeper, lost in a lime green bean. Player 139 drowned while trying to swim, stuck under the waves too long. Player 116 was slain by a zombie. The horde was far too strong. Player 61 suffocated in a wall, digging way too fast. Player 116 tried to swim in lava, and that one surely didn't last. Player 160 was shot by a skeleton, arrows whizzing through the air. Player 116.5 was pricked to death by sweet berries, fell in that bush of despair. Player 116.6 got the ground too hard, missed the water by a single yard. Player 116.7 blew himself up with misplaced TNT. All that's left now is trembling footsteps. And player 116.4 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time. There. Player 675 was swimming lava, slipped right off the edge. Player 676 was blown up by a creeper hiding in the hedge. The only log still breathing, moving fast and staying low. 10 players entered the wilderness, but danger came alive. Player 28 fell from a high place, missed the water below. Player 67 line was shot by skeleton arrows, lying in a deadly row. Player 127 was slain by a spider trapped beneath the trees. Player 71 drowned in the river, swept away by the rushing seas. Player 81 drowned to death, forgot to bring a snack. Player 20 was pricked to death by berries on the attack. Player 27 fly, Blaze fly, zombie cornered with no plan. Hey, 795 blew himself up when he misplaced TNT again. And player 170 was the only one survived, but invincible Mario took him out.
Player 17, Ice It was hit by a nuclear bomb. Player 17, I7, death dot fell dot cracks at the top water. Player 17, I hit blue screen by roadblocks. Player 17, I9 was run over by a Russian country ball. Player Hair 98 crafted a time black hole. Player 18-1 fell into a black hole. Player 18 mining 2 attempted to count to infinity. Player 1893 lived in 1928. Player 1890 Prime was taken out by Invincible Mario, just like Lun 77. Player 1896 was hypnotized by the ladder that Player 1 fell. Player 1887 was in the plane during 9/11, and Player 1894 was the only one survived. But then he realized that there's a part 15.
Player 1980 was blown up by a creeper. Player 189 fell from a high place.
Player 19 was shot by skeleton. Player 91 was killed by magic. Player 19-3 froze to death. Player 19-4 poked to death by sweet berry bush. Player 19-5 was slain by Ender Egg. In 96 yard. Player 1980 was slain by witch. Player 1990 was slain by spider. Player 1990 was stung to death. Player 200 death fell accident water. And player 1992 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time.
Player 21 and tried to head a creeper. It did not end well. Player 202 discovered gravity the hard way. Player 203 forgot that lava is not orange water. Player 204 tried swimming in the void. Player 205 was blown up by absolutely nothing. Player 206 angered an enderman by blinking. Player 208 tried to duel a skeleton using a stick. Player 219 got yeeted off a cliff by a goat. Player 321 suffocated in a wall that definitely wasn't there a second ago. Player 211 was poked too aggressively by a cactus. Player 21-2 learned why you don't dig straight down. Player 213 forgot they took off their elytra. Player 214 had got 6-7. Player 215 was slain by a baby zombie with too much confidence. Player 21's poached by falling gravel. Player 2 root second being caught on an iron blade. Player 218 was knocked into orbit by an iron golem. Player 219 exploded after trying to borrow TNT from a desert temple. Player 220 was pricked to death by sweet berry bushes, just like Player 4. Player 201 burned to a crisp while trying to toast marshmallows over lava. Player 222 tried to outswim a drowned, and Player 202 was the only one survived. But not for a very long time. Player 223 was sent to 65 million years ago. Player 224 was hit by a car at the max speed. Player 230 wides watched taking plums, films, and died. Player 226 was hit in the head by a football during Messi versus Ronaldo. Player 221 he was stooped by a plane inside the building. Mr. Beast and Mark Robber fell off the plane.
Player 228 got deleted by Minecraft. Player 229 went to volcano. Player 230 cannot start at high altitude. 202 fell into a spike trap. Player 233 hiding to death. Player 234 was stuck in the infinite death loop. Player 232 fought. Player 236 choked to death. Player 231 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time.
Player 247 was pricked to death by a sweet berry bush whilst trying to escape zombified piglet. Player 248 suffocated in a wall. Player 240 was doom scrolling on TikTok. Player 241 transformed into a horse. Player 242 was banned from Fortnite. Player 244 did and player 249 was the only one survived. But not for a very long time. But not for a very long time.
Player 24-6 was slain to death by a KGB agent. Player 24-7 drowned whilst trying to escape Ender Dragon. Player 24-7 White was blown up by Creeper. Player 24-9 fell from a high place because he got thrown off a ledge by a mysterious black object. Player 24-16 realized his player number was a quarter of the way to 1,000 and had a heart attack on the spot. Player 25 fun tried to swim in lava because he was colorblind and thought it was chocolate ice cream. Player 25-2 was slain by a zombie with enchanted netherite sword. Player 25-3 suffocated during guillotinating the Sir Bomber. Player 25-5 had a massive rage out during a game of Among Us. Player 25-6 exploded, and player 25-4 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time.
Player 25-7 was blown up by a creeper whilst trying to escape skeleton. Player 25-8 tried swimming in lava while fighting Chicken Jockey. Player 25-9 sinking to the ocean. Player 26 was doomed to fall by Witch. Player 26-2 was slain by Witch using magic. Player 26-3 was blown up by a TNT minecart. And player 26-2 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time.
Player 2-64 was killed by a Vumper using magic. Player 2-65 was slain by Vindicator. Player 2-64 was slain by Vix. Player 2-68 was killed by Cute Lucky Love P using magic. Player 2-69 was flamed by Cute Lucky Love P. Player 2-68 was poked to death by a sweet berry bush when trying to escape Cute Lucky Love P. Player 2-71 was impaled by Cute Lucky Love P. Player 2-72 was flamed by player 200, and now player 2-67 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time. Player 2-73 was slain by zombie. Player 2-74 was blown up by creeper. Player 2-75 fell from a high place. Player 2-76 hit the ground too hard. Player 2-77 tried to swim in lava. Player 2-78 was shot by skeleton. Player 2-80 suffocated in a wall. Player 2-81 was pricked to death. Player 2-82 was slain by Enderman. Player 2-83 went up in flames. Player 2-84 walked into a fire while fighting a spider, and player 2-79 was the only long survived, but not for a very long time.
Player 24 had the blown too hot. Player 28-5 was slain by a husk. Player 28-6 drowned. Player 28-7 was blown up by creeper. Player 28-8 suffocated in powder snow. Player 29 was shot by a skeleton. Player 29-1 was slain by witch. 21 oaks are burned to death. Player 23 was pricked to death by a cactus. Player 29 bomb was slain by pillager. Player
the only one survived, but not for a very long time. Player 3001 was hit by a fastest plane. Player 3002 accidentally fell off a high cliff. Player 303 downgraded to Windows 3 Horse 1. Player 304 was run over by a walnut truck. Plants vs. Zombies. Player 305 got killed by the lightning. Player 306 got killed by Player Walk. Player 307 rented to beat Russian roulette. Player 308 went into North Sentinel Island. Player 309 and Player 1 was being trolled by Bingo Healer just like Player 106. Player 311 walked into a forest where Player 2 burned to death. It's where 312 was in a roof during a Dr. Zombos fight, and Player 309 was the only one so far. It did not for a very long time. Player 313 was doomed to fall by a 2048 tile. Player 314 crashed a hoverboard into stereo madness. Player 315 thought detonating dynamite would give him infinite diamonds. Player 317 turned into a tomato because physics said that his existence was a hologram. Player 3118 crawled into a bee's nest. Player 3190 pad went to the demilitarized zone. Player 320 was sucked into the nostalgia at the Windows XP. Player 321 lost all his consciousness on the song Bingo Healer by KATLYN and Bingo. Player 322 forgot to look up at the falling anvil because it was Christmas. Player 3 didn't believe 322 and didn't see the pit of zombies. Player 334 was laughing at the entire scene and whilst distracted was slain by Player 3160.
And Player 316 was the only one survived, but not for a very long
Player
time.
3T5 was hit by a trident by drown. Player 3T6 was killed by magic. Player 337 was doomed to fall by Player 328, who actually was trapped in a box, then got shipped to North Korea. Player 329, I couldn't understand the concept of pie. Player 351 tried summoning a pig. Player 331 had heard the dreadful famous script. Is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that quickly gets more difficult as it continues. The 20-meter pacer test will begin in 30 seconds. Line up at the start. The running speed starts slowly, but gets faster each minute after you hear this signal. Blue, a single lap should be completed each time you hear this sound. Remember to run in a straight line and run as long as possible. The second time you fail to complete a lap before the sound, your test is over. Your test will begin on the word start. On your mark, get ready, start. Player 332 wrote his name on the death book, and Player 333 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time.
Player 33-4 was slain by skeleton. Player 33-5 was impaled on a stalagmite. Player 33-6 was pricked to death by a sweet berry bush. Player 3-7 was banned by Roblox. Player 3-8 was killed by 3-for-1. Player 3-3 was shot by Pillager. Player 3-1 was hit by a plane.
Player 312 was obliterated by a sonically charged freak whilst trying to escape Warden. Player 313 was slain by Iron Golem, then got blown up by a creeper. Player 344 was slain by Vex. Player 345 was slain by Zombie. Player 346 went off with a bang, and player 39 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time. Player 3047 fell from a high place. Player 3048 was slain by a zombie. Player 3049 tried to swim in lava. Player 350 was blown up by a creeper. Player 35 walked into a cactus while trying to escape. Player 35-2 was put to death. Player 35-4 drowned. Player 35-5 fell out of the world. Player 35-6 suffocated in a wall. Player 35-7 was slain by Enderman, and player 35-3 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time.
Player 358 was slain by Spider. Player 35-9 hit the ground too hard. Player 360 walked into fire while trying to escape. Player 361 was slain by Skeleton. Player 362 was killed by magic. Player 363 tried to swim in lava. Player 364 was blown up by creeper. Player 365 and fell out the world. Player 366 they suffocated in a wall. Player 367 was pricked to death. Player 367 in lava. Player 369 was slain by Enderman, and player 367 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time.
Player 71 tried to swim in lava. Player 72 drowned. Player 73 was blown up by creeper. Player 34 was slain by zombie. Player 35 fell out of the world. Player 36 burned to death. Player 37 it went up in flames. Player 30 was slain by spider. Player 3079 was squashed by a falling anvil. Player 3080 was slain by Iron Golem. Player 3081 froze to death. Player 38-2 was slain by Piglin. Player 38-3 tried to swim in lava. Player 38-4 drowned. Player 38-5 was blown up by creeper. Player 38-6 hit the ground too hard. Player 3087 suffocated in a wall. Player 3088 was slain by Enderman. Player 3089 fell from a high place. Player 3090 was squashed by a falling anvil. Player 3081 was killed by magic. Player 3092 was blown up by gas. Player 3083 drowned. Player 35 fell off the world. Player 3096 tried to swim in lava. Player 3097 burned to death. Player 3098 burned up in flames. Player 39 was slain by Enderman. Player 400 starved to
Player 401 was slain by Mike. Player 401 was slain by Among Us. Player 403 was slain by Gast. Player 404 fell out of the world whilst fighting Ender Dragon. Player 46 was kicked from the game. Player 407 was slain by Fairy Godmother. Player 40 blew up whilst fighting Gast. Player 49 was slain by Player 405. Player 40 left the confines of this world. Player 41 headed to space. Player 410 cannot survive in space. Player 413 was sent to North Korea. Player 414 was sent to Mars. Player 415 said was a Mars. And Player 405 was the only one to survive, but not for a very long time. Player 416 was slain by Vex. Player 417 was pricked to death. Player 418 was killed by magic. Player 419 was shot by skeleton. Player 420 was slain by Iron Golem. Player 422 fell from a high place. Player 423 was blown up by Creeper. Player 424 was impaled on a stalagmite. Player 45 was obliterated by a sonically charged shriek whilst trying to escape Warden. Player 426 drowned. Player 427 starved to death. Player 428 was slain by a spider. Player 429 fell out of world. And Player 421 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time. Player 423 to discover that gravity is not optional. Player 431 tried to hug a creeper, the creeper declined. Player 430 learned that lava is, in fact, hot. Player 431 attempted parkour and missed the tutorial. Player 434 was reminded that Endermen dislike eye contact. Player 435 underestimated the blast radius. Player 436 fought the skeleton fought better. Player 438 tried to pet the wolf disagreed. Player 439 forgot that sand obeys physics. Player 440 challenged the void accepted. Player 441 believed they could swim in magma. Player 442 attempted diplomacy with a witch. Player 443 learned that beds explode in the nether. Player 44 thought powdered snow was solid. Player 444 tried to out-swim a drown. They did not. Player 446 discovered that goats have opinions. Player 447 stood too close to the business end of a blaze. Player 448 mistook a ravager for a cow. Player 449 forgot to check their oxygen bar. Player 430 mind straight down, enough said. And 47 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time. Player 4501 was slain by Minecraft. Player 452 was shot by Stillminator. Player 452 was impaled by Vortex. Player 455 was slain by me. Player 455 was smashed by Jacob. Player 456 was shot by Jack. Player 458 traveled while trying to escape Craft Whip. Player 455 was slain by Carmine and Ringo. Player 456 he was impaled by Mike. Player 461 was doomed to fall by SpaceX and NASA. Player 462 was shot by me. Player 463 was slain by David. Player 464 was shot by SpaceX and NASA. Player 465 was killed by KATLYN and Bingo using magic. Player 466 was destroyed by me. Player 416 was shot by KATLYN and Bingo. And player 48507 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time. Player 468 was obliterated by a charge from Ryan. Player 469 was killed by a Verker using magic. Player 472 tried to time travel and then died because he wanted to revive. Player 6 is added from part 5. Player 471 remembered Tenderstein kissed Playmine. Player 472 tried soloing an Iron Golem. Player 473 had realized that Stranger Things Season 5 got released. Player 474 fell into buckets of invisible llamas. Player 475 tried to milk a gas and exploded. Player 476 was eaten by a flying cobblestone. Player 477 tripped over a rainbow and suffocated in colors. Player 478 drowned in a cup of water. Player 479 was struck by a falling Minecraft sun. Player 480 tried to punch a creeper, but punched reality instead. And player 4881 was the only one survived. But not for a very long time. Player 481 was politely escorted out of reality. Player 482 tripped over while ascended. Player 480 forgot to install gravity. Player 484 buffered for too long. Player 485 divided by 0. Player 486 walked into a loading screen. Player 488 blinked during autosave. Player 489 fell off airplane mode. Player 4980 was unsubscribed from existence. Player 4981 forgot their password to life. Player 492 was flattened by a pop-up ad. Player 493 was defeated by terms and conditions. Player 4984 slept on invisible pixels. Player 4985 got folded by a map app. Player 496 wasted by Ultra Crowder. Player 4980 got caught in a notification storm. Player 4980 was archived accidentally. Player 500 realizes his player number was halfway to 1,000 and runs in his circle non-stop in extreme exhaustion. And player 487 was the only one survived,
But the hero realized that player 1000 exists somewhere!
Player 501 was slain by Godzilla. Player 502 was sent to Narnia. Player 503 died of crings from bingo healer memes. Player 504 turned into a thermonuclear Clear Fighter 5 was killed by Invincible Harriel, just like 167.
Player 506 did not know
How the deep-watered Player 507 was blasted at 2.147 billion miles an hour. Player 508 didn't know what anti-dust establishmentarianism is.
Player 519 fell into a dungeon. Player 511 phone Satan. Player 512 mistook Satan for Santa. Player 513 became obsessed with CCCP.
And Player 509 was the only one survived.
But the song Bingo Healer exists!
Player 514 fell into toxic waste. Player 515 attempted to do a backflip and broke his neck. Player 516 accidentally pressed a big red button. Player 517 was sacrificed to stop GTA 6 from being delayed again. Player 509 tried to put a fire out but thought that water was spelt P-E-T-R-O.
Player 540 thought he could fly. Player 511 forgot his parachute while skydiving.
Player 512 was hacked.
Player 513's oven exploded whilst baking a cake.
And Player 518 was the only one survived, but not for a very long time.